Welcome, everybody. It is New Year's Eve. We're here to make some resolutions, collecting resolutions, all of which we broke last year, but we
Probably
thought
day two.
probably on day two. But we wanted to put together, I have a six or five on my list. I think Andy is around five of things we're telling ourselves we're not going to do in 2024. So, Andy, it's great to have you back here.
Thanks. Glad to be back. Happy New Year's.
Happy New Year's, everybody. I have a small hat again. This is the same small hat from last year, but let's get to the resolution. So, my first one is don't get caught up in hype around a product. This happened to me a little bit with the Lord of the Rings One Ring chase with the Magic set. I bought some collector's boosters. I had some fun, but I definitely got caught up a little bit in the hype around trying to chase the one of one serialized ring. And that was probably financially stupid to do. And it almost happened to me with Lorcana. But I think as a general practice, prices always fall as time goes on. So don't get caught up in the initial hype. There will be enough stuff. You might just have to wait. And these games will be around indefinitely. Like once things are printed, they're not disappearing. Like it'll just be in someone's basement. So that's my first resolution: is don't get caught up in the hype around a new product.
Yeah, I almost did that with Lorcana as well. I I did get the D23 promos. I got them for a pretty good deal. Kyle Mullins, hi Kyle, he convinced me to sell them at like their peak, cashed out like 5x my money on like a couple grand, was pretty nice.
Well
So
done.
but that's not for everybody. There's also people that bought in at $400 for first chapter boxes, and they're now like 115. So you
Yeah,
can get
same thing with
and
the Lord of the Rings Magic set. Like all of that stuff will be less money today than it is, or in a year than it is today, more than likely.
sure, exactly.
Uh,
All right. So mine, I actually went really deep on this one. I watched a TED talk about how to keep your New Year's resolutions before we recorded this.
I'm glad this is more of a meditation on. Okay, let's hear it then.
But I don't think that it's actually going to work, to be honest with you. So, when I put my list together, it felt very much like the same list that I had last year. So I don't know if that's a bad thing in that I just didn't get any of my resolutions done, or if it's a good thing because I'm showing some slight growth in my where I'm at with the resolution. It's a multi-year resolution, we'll
Well,
say.
to fix a problem, you have to identify the problem, and you might be trapped in a cycle, right? You're in like a death spiral where you identify the problem and then just ignore it. But you're making progress, I think, right?
Yeah, collecting is kind of a death spiral. So last year, I spent a lot of time organizing what I owned into, we'll say, rough categories. This box has all bulk Star Wars. This box has decent versus system. This is all my Magic stuff. This is my Marvel trading card stuff. These are my comics. These are my books, etc. And it's like loosely and roughly organized, which was part of my resolution last year was to get organized. So this year, I have actually been able to organize, I guess, in 2023. So for 2024 is to get more granularly organized, like actually sit down and go through this box. Do I need to keep this? Do I want to ever use it for something in the future? Can I sell this? Can I give it away? And kind of make piles and refine my organization so that I can actually downsize. Because I don't know stuff.
That's a really admirable one there. I think this is actually a good segue into my next one, which is I want to buy things with a purpose in 2024. No more bulk buys. I am such a sucker for, well, it's a good deal. Did you see? I mean, and I don't need this premiere set, but it's included, and therefore the $300 is more justifiable, even though I'm getting stuff I don't want that I might just have to resell, and then I have to deal with reselling and printing off labels and going to the post office. It's like, just buy crap I need, whether it's for a deck, for a collection, whatever it is. buy with purpose and intent and not just because it was a good deal. I'm done with good deals. I think that the American consumer as a whole falls victim to this quite a bit, where it's like, I went to Nordstrom Rack and like, did you know this was $196 and it was only $46, but it's not my size, but I bought it because it was a good deal. I'm like that guy with collecting, and I need to not be that guy anymore.
Young Jedi collections and all.
Okay, I don't besmirch the name of my Young Jedi collection that I love having. But yeah, that's my next one, is to buy with intent, and not just because it's a steal, right?
That's good. I like that. It ties somewhat into mine, and my second resolution also ties back to my first. So we're like making a circle of resolutions here, and well, I'm going to be organizing. I also want to take an inventory of what I actually have and own. One, because it'll help making things easier to sell, but two, so that I don't buy things that I already own. Because I've definitely done that before. Well, oh man, this was such a good deal. Let me buy this because I need it. And then I realized that I actually already owned it. And I was like, oh, I
the
could have just saved myself, $80 or something.
the ultimate New Year's aspiration, and this is actually not one of mine, but my ultimate resolution is put all my stuff in an Excel spreadsheet, so I'll know. I will never get to that stage.
We're gonna get there, but I'll put it down, and we'll see how far I get. Maybe I'll like make the like format of the Excel sheet, but I won't have anything else, like any data entered in.
Exactly. Okay. My next one here is use my stuff. So collecting, we've talked about this before, is a bit solitary, and if you can find ways of utilizing, you're going to self-actualize the value of your collection so much more. I put together some decks and played with our friend Ben, where I let him win. I don't think he'll watch this video, so he won't know that, but he's a sore loser. But it felt good, and he's like, "Oh, you put some Luke Skywalker Jedi Knights?" And I'm like, yeah, because I had 3 sitting in a box. I'm like, why not make this deck better? Like, I don't know. They're double sleeved. I don't plan on grading them. I have my master set. So what purpose does this card have if I'm not playing with it? Like, I could put it in a binder, but it's kind of fun to have a deck as well. And so I think that, using your cards will just make your whatever collectibles, right? Like, they will make it feel better and less like it's just taking up shelf space. And I'm not saying you guys need to break open the boxes and play with your toys, but like when it is possible to you, and that can even just be as simple as like finding community and like sharing photos. Like, you'll never see, like, I'm in some board game groups, and like one of the big things to do is a shelfie, right? It's like the picture of all your board games, and it starts a discussion. You might never play most of those games, but at least you're like engaging in community. You're not just being like a lone collector of whatever. You're talking to people like, oh, this was such an interesting hunt to find this like whatever product. And that's going to make you feel a lot better about all the money you spent on your stuff. So use my stuff, which I think I'm on the right path there.
There you go. I like it. I'm all for it. All right. So mine, third one, slightly different, but I realized that I end up, I guess kind of tied in with buying duplicate things. There's a lot of stuff that I end up buying, and later on, I'm just like, why did I get this? I don't really want it anymore. I just saw it and it was like, oh, I have to have that. It's like shiny and new, or well, most of these are old and raggedy because they're dead games or whatever. But like, so what I've taken, where I actually already started this one. I started it like last month, although it's already not going so well. So we'll see how I can reinvent it tomorrow in a couple of hours when it comes January. Is if I see something that I want to get, unless it's like so exceedingly rare that I will never see it again, or it's going to, the next time I see it's going to be 6 years from now or something like that. Like, but if it's just something that I can just normally get online, instead of buying it, I'm going to write it down and copy the link to it in a notepad. And then once a quarter, I haven't decided on if it's going to be once a quarter or once every 6 months, biannually. everything on the list, I'll go back through and I'll be like, do I really need this? Do I need this? And if I say yes, then I'll just buy it at that point. And I'll do like a big bulk buy of like everything. So it'll do two things. One, it'll encourage me to continue to like budget / save correctly rather than just impulse buying everything. And two, it'll let me weed through all of the things that I don't really want to really need. And so I'll be able to, kind of following your resolution of buying things with purpose. This will help me with that.
Impulse purchases are the death of all collectors, right? Like, why did I just spend $175 just to get something in the mail? Sometimes I think I buy stuff just for the thrill of waiting in the mail. Like, it'll be here in 3 to 5 business days. I'll have something in the mail that's not a credit card offer. How fun, right? Like, my goodness, my life has some light in it once again. But now I think saving for bulk buys is actually a really good strategy, especially saving on shipping if you're ordering from a store like category 1 or whatever. But that's definitely a good sort of strategy rather than like having. It's also just like less risk of things getting lost or misplaced. Like over the holidays, I think I probably had 20 envelopes come in, and like it was just like they were late, delayed. And it's nice when you're not looking for 20 different things and like losing track. Okay, but my next one here. And this, I think, should apply for everybody getting into anything, but just don't buy into something that you don't understand. Whether it's the stock market, whether it's Lorcana, whether it's action figures, just don't. Like, I've done this a lot before. I bought some collections where I'm like, I think that this card is valuable, and I think that that's included, and I'm going to take a little bit of a risk because it's only $100 or something, and then I just end up with like a bunch of random crap. I'm like, oh, this didn't have anything cool in it. Like, just don't buy into things. If you want to get into collecting, like, do some research, spend some time. You're going to be spending your dollars on goods, so like just understand the marketplace. This is why I've done all these market videos. Right? Is like, hey, there's all this data out here. We've aggregated it for you. Look at it, think about it, and be like, am I getting a good price or not? But don't just buy stuff because you think maybe like, I think this is undervalued, I'm going to buy it. Because that's just not the right approach, and you're going to get burned out, and you're also going to feel like you're burned yourself. Like, oh, crap, I overpaid. So don't buy into stuff you don't understand. So that's my next one. Back to you, Andy.
All right. This one's really kind of my last one, but it's like a point A, point B to it. So however you want to take that.
I'm ready.
So last year, one of my resolutions was, well, I guess at the end of 2022, I had been buying into like complete collections of things. Like I bought a full collection of like Warhammer Invasion or whatever, right? And like Legend of the Wings LCG, and like I had like all these collections because I was like, oh, Star Wars LCG and stuff. And I was like, oh, I'm definitely gonna play these at some point, and I just never did, and it was just taking up space, and so I downsized. So this year it's going to, and I was very successful at downsizing certain things. So I want to continue to do that. So this is my continue resolution, is to continue to downsize, especially in bulk and my Magic collection, because I haven't used my Magic collection in a long time. It's just sitting there. I don't really foresee myself using it anytime soon. And then bulk, I've just got lots of bulk. I just need to get rid of it, right? It just is heavy. It takes up a lot of space. So that's the point A. But the point B is going with downsizing was to get everything that I have, like put into binders, put into decks, and like, put away, right? So that I know that this kind of ties into the organization piece, but then I'm going to be left with everything else. And then that's the stuff I need to start downsizing, right? Yeah. Because I've figured out what I want to keep. It's in a binder, it's in a deck box, it's somewhere secure and safe that I'm going to do something with it at some point. This is all the other junk that I need to now downsize out. So there you go. That's my A and B to that point.
I like that. So my last one is generally I need to stop being such a dilettante with all of these games, right? Like I want to just pick 3 or 4 games that I collect and I enjoy playing. I don't need like a starter deck from 24, the card game that existed for 1 year. I don't need like a Wars TCG box that I have sealed that I got on a really good deal from Hills. I want to stop. I mean, it doesn't help running this channel because I sometimes I've opened this stuff for content, but like I don't know, we did this whole Hecatome video or Hecaco whatever. And it's just like I don't need those starters anymore. We played, we didn't really like it, and it's time to let those things go.
Well,
Like I don't need to like have the Final Fantasy TCG. I enjoyed it. I think it's a cool game. I have no one to play with. Maybe I'll let that collection go and just have like, I don't need to have essentially $75 worth of stuff in a game that I don't really have much interest in. Nothing wrong with it, but just like stop spreading myself so thin with these products because you can't even remember the rules to some of these. Like I've forgotten how to play Lord of the Rings TCG. I don't even remember. It's just I have some decks from like I have a rough idea of how this works, but I'm also thinking about Star Wars. I'm also thinking about Magic. I'm also thinking about the 24, card game, which is I want to be Jack Bauer, obviously, but I just want to stop spreading myself and just being like a dabbler in many things. Because I think when you do that, it means you're a master in none, and
right.
that's not a very satisfying feeling.
Yeah.
So
I get
anyway, that's my last one. Stop being such an old dilettante and just like focus on stuff and get good at it and smart at it rather than like having 16 different games sitting on my shelf. I have some random ones. Battlestar Galactica. I learned to play that. It's a pass. That one's a pass.
Probably.
Anyways, I think that's all for me, Andy. Any kind of closing thoughts here?
Yeah, I'll close this out here. There's the like New Year's song, right? That's the old Scottish song, and one of the lines is share a cup of kindness. So my cup of kindness to your community here is I hope that 2024 brings you all of your collecting joy that you really wanted, that you leave anything that was bad or negative in 2023 and start the new year fresh with fresh outlook on how to collect things, how to have fun with the games that we've all grown to love, and may you find somebody to actually play these with or enjoy them with you just as much as you enjoy them yourself.
I love that. So I'll just end by saying this is if I could give you guys all, if you've made it to this point, if I could give you a positive feedback on eBay right now, I absolutely would. You guys, we wish you the best in 2024. It's going to be a great year, and we'll catch everybody next time.